Well, tonight is day 160. Last video, I think, was day 158, 59. That was like Sunday. Well, I'm on like 2 days, 3 days off course here. Had to verify with Google. It's like, how long ago was it since October 25th? Yeah, 160. So I was a bit off, which does help me on my deadline. It gives me a few more days to work with. Update on timeline for Findlay, Ohio show, 42 days, and Bantam is in 71 days. So that's the update on days and time. I have made some good progress on the truck. The motor is fully done. The clutch is installed, new bell housing bolts. The old ones are installed wrong, plus the wrong ones. A quarter inch too long. And they just jammed them in there, the military, in 2008. And the bolts just machine grinded on the flywheel. So they're all burred and machined off. It's like, yeah, wrong. It worked. Put some resistance on the flywheel and such, but anyway, proper bolts are in place. So the transmission, clutch is on, motor's done. I replaced the return lines for the injectors, the quarter-inch lines. I replaced them all, plus made them all straight and level. I put the fan belt on for my air compressor. A bit of a challenge for that pulley that spins off. Otherwise, wasn't too hard. I did eventually understand how it works now. I didn't ever need to swap it out. And I replaced my gaskets on top for the manifold. So the motor's all good to go, ready to install. Now it's just about time whenever he's free to deliver for me. And I still owe him $1,100 cash to pay him off. So I'll pay him off next week, next Friday. So that's that for you, update-wise. Update on, that's the motor. So then that's that. I have, tomorrow's Friday, and then I go back to work Monday, Tuesday. Then I'm off work Wednesday, Thursday, Friday next week, the weekend, of course. Then at work we have shutdown, which is paid, but we're not working. So Monday through Thursday, and then Good Friday holiday, and then the weekend. So I have a good week and a half to work on my truck to get this thing just done as much as possible. The goal in that time frame is to finish everything done painting, which is the hardtop, sand, paint the outside, the hood on the outside, the back wall for the hardtop, the back of the frame, the paint, and the drums, then all the wheels. And then I need to paint green in my toolbox, and then paint my fuel tank and my battery tray. Then we're done painting. Done making dust. And now at that point, then I gotta start bringing parts in here and just lay everything out on benches and start adding things on. So the goal is Sunday to mid next week, the motor goes in. Next following weekend, the cab goes on with the neighbor's crane, or also our tractor if we have to, if he's not available. That's just that steering column's a bit of a pain. And once that's on, then it just goes from there. Super easy. So, yeah. Yeah, all right, that's all. I did pull the old wiring harness off. It is horrible. I'm glad I replaced it. I knew I had bad wires, connection points, fraying, dry rotted, bad plugs. But when you pull harnesses out that you want to bend and curl, they don't. They just bend up to a 90 and they just break off. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots. They're all just bend, like snap, break. Connection point sketch right there. Like, yeah. I'm glad I spent the money, thousands some dollars for the harness, but at least I don't have to worry about it. So I'm good there. Back here, I am a little bit concerned on my taillights for two reasons. And one's just for looks, but one's functional. On this taillight, we got plugs, of course. That's good. Not on this side. They're missing their plugs totally. So I'm going to crimp them, solder them on. But I like to find a whole new harness from this edge to inside and just replace that alone. I'll be happy. But then masking these off and cleaning them up. These squares are different, as well as there's no screws here. But on this one there is screws, and these are smaller. And those are bigger. So I actually prefer that just for more visibility on the road for traffic. So I like that style better. But I think that one's more waterproof for, say, those two more screws. I don't know. But that's a difference I found. The next thing I still need to work on is pull this thing off. Today I stopped at my friend's house in town. He's got 2 deuce and a halves. Sat for 20 years, but moved his shackle. God, that's so easy. Mine's stiff. I think mine's been hammered in to fit that pin on. So I think this pin is wrong going in. And they had to hammer this in, squeeze it in tight, and that's why it's rubbing, not moving freely. So yeah, I think good luck finding a new pin as an option to find one. If not, just machine the shackle so it fits better. And just tack some grease inside so it can lubricate itself and make it easy to pivot. That's my idea. So that's this. Not much else back here to talk about. And up there, I pulled the old harness out first because obviously it makes a nice clean paint job. And the new harness goes on all black. Not having any overspray on the harness. So that's the back of the chassis. Getting the harness off was easy. We definitely need to unplug everything back here, except you want to pull it through this way to remove it. That's the trick. The only hard part to work on this thing is you have clamp there, clamp there, clamp there, clamp there, holding it on. That was fine, except for this cross member. You have clamps. I put them up here so I see them. They're easy to find, but they go below. The harness goes below this to the fuel tank ones. So those are a bit hard to get to. And then there was one more hard to get up front. So just these 3 bolts were the hardest to work with for the harness. And then the plug going out, trying to pull those through, especially that big one. It won't go through the frame hole, so I just chopped it. It's no good anyway, but I need to figure out how to put it through the frame easier. Probably remove that rubber boot. It's probably the option I have. Otherwise, pretty easy on that. I still gotta do the front harness and the front fuel line still on the front. Still have to do that stuff before the motor goes in. That big connection for the back harness does fit through the frame easily. So it connects right there. Going through this frame rail, which is I was concerned, there's not much of an opening through that big hole there. But it does fit through with all the air lines and brake lines, so there's room. Alright, that's that. And that's really all we got to talk about. Now, the next thing is the fuel tank. Talk about that. I still want to flush it. 30 gallons in there. I don't know where to put it. Comparing my fuel tank against my friend's truck today, mine's in far better shape. But it's still starting to show moisture. So, I need to clean the cap off. And then this white stuff is starting to grow. Not as bad as my friend's truck. It's all with 20 years sitting. And oil in the tank too. Mine's all diesel. But for the sake of this, I want to clean it. But yeah, not 100% sure. Anyway, I need to do that. Then as for my fuel tank paint job, talking to him, he does have an extra fuel tank for me, but I'm not going to buy it. But I have all these chips of paint. I've tried to needle scale this and chisel it off in a way that I don't damage the tank, and it's not helping. Nothing works. I could try sanding it, but I'm eating the metal and make it weak. It's like, so I kind of asked, like, so I just put Bondo. I hate to do Bondo for the fuel tank, but Bondo to fill these holes in, make it pretty. Get my square sander and just square this thing off, make it nice and smooth. And then just paint over the blue and primer, paint it green, call it good. Like, that's fine. So that's what I'm going to do. So I don't want to damage the tank to make it perfection. But I will still be pulling out the frame, so it's a nice paint job back here. So that's that. All right. That's my update overall. Nice and short update. Yeah. As for the back bed, it's sitting outside. I have decided to go with bed liner. I'm not going to paint it now, not till I'm free. This is more priority to get everything else running. But I am going to do bed liner on the bed. But I need to figure out what kits to buy. And then mix paint so it matches my green. So same as that green. That needs to happen. So, alright, my mother's calling me, so I better go in. But there's my update for the night. Bye.